Hello everyone and welcome to another JayEmm special. The star of this week is the Audi RS3 Sportback, kindly loaned to me by the nice people at Audi UK. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh look, he's got a shiny press car. He's going to give it a real easy time and say nothing but nice things about it. Well, I assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. This week I intend to do about 1,000 miles in as many different roads and road conditions as I can find. And I should be comparing this with as many different cars as I can get my hands on, including a couple from Audi's own catalogue that I think will put up a hell of a fight. Now you're going to see the final review and conclusion of this car at the end of the week, because what's the point in telling you what I think of it before I've actually had the chance to experience it? However, what I'm going to do now is to give you a nice walking tour of the exterior and interior features and the spec of this particular car. So, let's get a look around. Let's start at the beginning, or more accurately, the front of the car. This car is painted in a shade that Audi call Ara Blue Crystal Effect. Now, typically, I've chosen today, out of all days, to do this little walk around. The rest of the week, it's been searingly hot, and you can really see the heavy metallic presence in this paint. But it's a beautiful shade, and I must confess I'm really overjoyed that Audi decided to not send me a Nardo grey car. Now the spec on this car is actually pretty good. I saw a few reviews when these cars came out of cars which have been very heavily spec'd to an unrealistic level, but this one isn't. I think this is very representative of what your average spec might be. Now the paint itself is a £750 upgrade. You also have this matte aluminium trim at the front. Now I know this divides opinion, but I gotta confess, I actually really quite like it. Most interesting of features on the car are these. They are the optional Audi Sport wider front wheels. Now, the regular wheels are 8J wide. These are 8.5, and these come equipped with 255 section Pirellis. The standard car comes with 235s, and that's what this car wears on the back. So yes, you heard me right. It's got wider fronts than it does rears. Now this is all part of Audi's aim to try and reduce the understeer for which their RS models can be known. And to be honest, it's working so far. Of course, I've still got a week of driving to see whether it's going to be the case in all conditions, but so far so good. Now, the only thing I think is slightly odd is that the design of these Pirelli tyres, again, unfortunately, as you can see, we've had a little bit of weather today, so the car is not immaculately clean. They have a very weird profile to them. They got a real shoulder to them, and the backs are the same. They look like they're really stretched on these wheels. I don't know why that is, but the one good thing is a massive lip on these tyres. So the idea of being able to curb them should be pretty damn difficult. Look at that, it's a huge lip on there. Now, around the back, you'll see this car is not as clean. I had this car completely, thoroughly clean this morning, and then on the way here, it got caked. So this has the Sport Pack, which includes these tailpipes, which is part of the sports exhaust system. Now, if we go inside, you're greeted with a very Audi interior. Now the interior is one area that I'm not completely in love with the car, and I'll explain why in just a second. Now there's no doubting that this is a very nice place to be, and the entire car has a real feel of quality about it. But with this being the RS model, I just feel like there should be a little bit more to differentiate it from the standard car. As it happens, there is an RS design package, which is about $895, and that will change these dials for red ones. We'll give you red stitching on the seats, red stitching on the wheel, and we'll cover these in Alcantara. I think there's a couple of other little bits as well, and that would definitely go some way to helping. I think that should probably be standard. I mean, all the options prices on this car are actually very reasonable. And you have these seats, and the driving position, the seating position, is really good in this car. I complain on an almost daily basis about cars where you sit far too high. Not in this. I'm in exactly the right place. I can still just about see the bonnet, so you have some sort of sense of where the car is. Now, one big difference with the RS over the regular A3 and S3 is the virtual cockpit. So I'm just going to start the car now. This car has a comfort pack, and it's also got a driver assistance pack. Part of one of those is your start-stop button, and you've got keyless entry and all that stuff. Now you'll see here, this thing raises at the dashboard. That, major thumbs up to Audi for that. I mean, that's so simple. It's such a perfect solution to this problem of putting screens in cars but making them unobtrusive. Now, like I say, everything in this car exudes quality. Even the noises that this makes are just, it just sounds proper. So you've got nav in here, you've got your telephone, you've got Bluetooth. I've got all sorts of stuff in here. You can do basically whatever you want, and the best thing is you know, when you've done whatever you want, this screen, just tap a button and it folds away. Now, ordinarily, I would say that I'm not a fan of this sort of LCD dash thing, which is becoming very popular now. But I'm gonna see how I get on with this, and you know, let you guys know whether I warm to it. One thing I will say for it, all the controls on here are very easy to use, and the buttons just feel proper. They feel like a premium car. And one cool thing I've discovered, you can just click here and make the map take up nearly. So this little screen here nearly renders this one redundant, which makes it doubly good that you can get rid of this other one. You've got all sorts of things you can do here, so you can even change different settings and things. So we have down here your layout. So look at that. There's even a sport layout as well. Yep. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. Wow. So that completely changes how everything's lined up. Puts the rev counter front and center. Really like that. I'm kind of, I know, I'm gonna see how I get on with this. Steering wheel. Wheels and seats, very important in cars. Steering wheel feels lovely. Now it's got Alcantara on the sides, which I'm not a fan of, but thin rimmed, nice wheel, nice to the touch. It's not the same as the R8 unit, but it is very, very close. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same sort of surround, because the R8 one's got a start button and various other controls and stuff on the actual wheel. This one doesn't. Now you can also have optional Super Sport seats. My personal preference, if you're speccing a car like this, I'd have the Super Sport seats, because they apparently have more prominent bolsters, which I think these seats would benefit from. And you can have diamond stitching in these sections here, and it also does it in the back as well. So that would make a big difference. In here you've got a mixture of leather and Alcantara, and a little bit of this sort of aluminium cubey looking trim. I can't remember their name for it, but it's interesting. Dual zone climate control, which works absolutely brilliantly. You have the option of automatic handbrake, which I think is very, very handy with these kind of cars. Auto start stop and all that sort of stuff, and your usual controls on here. One thing that I think is, again, a little bit odd for an RS model, it's not really a big deal at all, but it seems worth mentioning, is that this is the wrong way around. So when you want to shift in manual mode, so you flick the car over. Now in a race car, it's that to shift up and that is down. In this car it's the other way around, it's forward to shift up and that to shift down. I think that's because that's how most people perceive it, but for me in an RS, that's what I have. I appreciate that Audi have got a sort of a corporate thing, they need to be consistent with their cars. I would have expected in the colours for it to be like that. Now with this being the Sportback, let's have a look in the boot, because I have been asked about the boot size, and I know that is important when you're talking about a possibly practical car. This of course is available in saloon or Sportback, so let's have a look at what the Sportback gets you. The answer is a bit, but not masses. The reason for this compromised setup is because you have all the Quattro gubbins under here, so it's not the most spacious of all cars. Now, other packs that this car has, so Audi at the minute seem to be going a lot with packs for cars. So options are the blue paint, £750, aluminium packs about £800. You got aluminium roof rails, as seen here. They are 200 something quid. Then you've got Sport Pack, you've got which is the exhaust, is the dynamic ride, and is tyre pressure monitoring sensor. That is £1,700, I believe, which I think is a very reasonable price for what you get. You then have Comfort and Sound Pack, which gives you things like the B&O stereo, keyless entry, Again, very handy, very reasonably priced. And you got the driver assistance and safety pack, which is about £1,250 because you've got to combine two things. And that gets you stuff like the Audi pre-safe, which is their attempt at the sort of stop you before you crash type thing. And you get these little things, so these all light up if you see if you try and indicate. You also get these things, so if you're trying to move out and there's a car there, these bits here, these black bits, they flash and they warn you. So you get a load of trick tech, you get adaptive cruise control and so on and so forth. I think the most interesting thing about the whole car for a lot of people is what's at the front under the bonnet. Now up here you have Audi's 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. That's a classic Audi power plant, mated to a 7-speed S-tronic gearbox. That's Audi's dual clutch box, for those that don't know. Now they come exclusively in that combination. If you want a manual, you have to go down to the S3. This sounds delightful. Power figures are 400 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. That's about 480 newton meters. I've not seen in any literature any mention of an overboost facility or anything like that, but this engine pulls hard from about 2,500. I mean, the specs say that it's got full torque from about 1,700, but I found 2.5, 3, it really takes off. And you've got massive 8-pot discs at the front. Well, 8-pot discs, 8-pot calipers, you know what I mean. And overall, it is a very, very impressive piece of kit. I mean, when I first looked at it, you go, geez, 50 odd grand for this. It's £53,000, by the way, is the on-the-road price of this car. And that looks like a lot. And it's the same price of a Super Saloon, you know, an RS4 or something, from a few years ago, but it's easily at least that performance. So there you go. That's my introduction and walk around to the RS3. You're going to be seeing quite a few videos this week, probably going to get them all out in the week, of different things, comparing the car with different other vehicles and just telling you as much as I possibly can about it. So hope you enjoy. See you soon. Bye bye.